Hi guys! So I'm super excited because today I've got one of my favorite humans on the entire planet, Rachel Perry. Okay, so if you guys don't know Rachel, she is the co-founder of the Tag Team Party Peeps, host of the new podcast, Making the Leap, and a business coach for lady bosses who want to shift their side hustle into a revenue-generating main hustle. And not only is she an entrepreneur on the cusp of her first seven-figure year, but she also juggles being a mom, wife, and CEO just like you ladies. I'm super excited for her to talk more about this. She is really passionate about helping other ladies walk into their truth so they can be empowered to lead a successful business and still rock it in all other areas of their life. And I mean, just like the rest of us, Rachel loves Target, trips with her fam. I mean, I get like lost in Target. I'm just like, I go in for sandwich bags and I come out with their entire furniture line. Like, how did this happen? How did this happen? But yeah, so she loves taking trips with her fam as long as the kids aren't fighting and alcohol is readily available. Like, this girl is like my margarita girl. Like, whenever we're out, I'm just like, it was my birthday recently. I'm like, can I count on you to have margaritas with me?
Done.
Like, done. But yeah, I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God. So other than things that we already kind of talked about in that little intro, fill us in on, for the people who don't know you, like they need to know you. So fill us in on like, who is Rachel Perry?
So Rachel is evolving. I got to tell you, there are big things on the horizon, but I went to school to be a teacher. Okay. And then I became a mom and I was like, okay, this is my calling. I need to be a stay-at-home mom. And shout out to all the stay-at-home moms. Okay. But being a stay-at-home mom was not what gave me joy. That sounds terrible. That sounds straight up terrible. I love my children are my life, but being a stay-at-home mom was just not, I wasn't a great mom. Okay. I needed to do something. So I actually ended up becoming a direct seller. And so I did that for a few years and then met my business partner and we developed a business completely not planned and ended up growing to be like this high six-figure business. It was incredible. We were just training direct sellers. So then I realized, you know what? I am loving this community of business owners, of these women business owners, these female business owners who want to grow their businesses, but yet they're wondering, can I do this? Because I'm a mom, or I have so many ideas, but I'm a mom. And there's such a conflict there, I think, with moms and being business owners that we can absolutely do. There's this, I guess, hold on. There's a question, I think, in our minds where we just don't know if we can do it all. There's a whole guilt factor that comes along with these things. And for so long, I felt like I couldn't do this. But the truth of the matter is we can. And there are so many people that we can serve in our business and still be amazing moms. So that's where I am today.
Hey, freaking men. Okay, so for a lot of the moms who are listening to this going, wow, you're doing so many amazing things. It's almost, I hate to even say it, it's like almost sexist where it's like, how do you figure it all out as a mom? Like, cause like a guy would never be asked that, right?
Not as your husband, how does Mark handle this?
Yeah, how does he juggle it all? So I hate even asking that question, but I know for a lot of women, that is the position that they're in where they are juggling a lot of different things, and growing a business is like growing a baby. Like, it takes a village, it takes time, it takes a lot of attention. And like you just said, there is that layer of mom guilt. So I think that's a great place to start. And maybe just speaking to that, how does someone who is, starting a new business, their like husband's giving them a hard time about, oh, you're not coming to bed, you're staying up, you're working your business. Oh, you didn't see the kids today? And the kids are like, Mom, why are you working? Like all of these things are happening. How in the F do you, like, I hate to even say like survive that, but like emotionally, how do you move through that and come out the other end with a successful business?
That is such a good question.
I'm not really sure.
I don't know. Let me know.
Let me get back to you.
I will say in the beginning of the tag team, we worked insane hours, and it was like that. It was this, are you, from the husbands, it was kind of like, are you sure this is going to end up being a business that's you can make money on, because they were putting the kids to bed or things like that. But here's the thing. We realized, we came to this revelation that our family was our priority. So when we put that, it was almost like we said it out loud. When we gave it that, we were like, wait a second, our family is our priority. Our business comes second to that. So everything sort of fell into place that way. We figured out that we are going to work 3 days a week. Yeah, you heard me. Monday through Wednesday from 9 until noon or 12:30. And that's what we did. And as a result, we were able to then pick our kids up from school. We're able to go and volunteer in the classroom. We're able to, technically we could probably make dinner, though that's not an area of strength.
You're a mixologist.
Exactly.
Professional wine opener.
I'm really good at that. But realizing that, there's no such thing as a perfect balance.
Yeah.
We all strive for that. We do our best. And there were times when I worked more, or the kids came home from school and I'd be like, oh, let me just finish this one thing. But overall, they were the priority, and everything else sort of fell into place. And when you set that schedule, because we set that schedule, we knew that this was our time to rock it out and get stuff accomplished. And we did. And that's why it works, I think, because we knew that that was our time, and we knew that we were also, and that was absolutely the priority. Like obviously if the nurse called from school, go get our kid. But for the most part, that was a very protected time. And that's when we worked. And then we could be present with our kids when they came home. Well, we tried to be.
Right.
I tried to be.
But that's so important, because even in my own business, like creating business hours is something that has been a big focus of 2019, because, things do get a little busy at certain times or during launches. And I think having those boundaries for yourself is everything. And honestly, I know for myself, and I'm curious for you, like I'm more productive when I actually tell myself you're done at 4 or you're done at 5. Yep. I'm like, oh, I'm not picking up my phone, because I know I can go and talk to whoever I need to talk to later.
Exactly.
Good.
And during that time, another really good thing, and so many people do this and may even already know this, but I have to turn my phone on to do not disturb, because then it's so easy to get distracted by the notifications and things like that. But that's huge. That made a big difference.
Yeah, I had gotten this thing called phone soap that cleans your phone, and you're supposed to leave it in there for 10 minutes. But after, it's like UV rays. I don't really know, but it's supposedly sanitizes your phone without actually making it wet. Super cool, especially because I live in the city. So I have my phone with me when I'm on the subway, and so many germs are getting on my phone, and I'm just touching it all day long. So I wanted to get that, and I started putting my phone in there just to clean it. And then I would forget that it was in there. I'm like, where's my phone? But when I was working, I just wouldn't realize. If my phone wasn't next to me, then I wouldn't unconsciously just pick it up and start messing with it. And so I renamed phone soap. I call it phone jail, because it needs to go on phone jail.
That's great though, on so many levels.
Yeah. I'm cleaning it and I'm being productive. Winning.
Winning. That is hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning. Yes. But yeah, it is amazing when you actually start setting those boundaries. So I think that's so powerful. I'm curious though, did you incorporate your family and your kids into creating some of those business rules or business hours? Do they understand the kids what you do?
So Jen, that would have been amazing had I done that. That would have been amazing. I did not, to be honest. I was like, hey guys, this is when I'm working.
Yeah.
But the idea of making it a family decision is awesome. They know what I do. They know that I have 2 businesses. They know that they know that when I work, they're with me recording these episodes for my new podcast. They're becoming very familiar with closing the door in their room and not moving. I'm like, do not want to hear any walking upstairs. But now they have a much deeper understanding of what I do. But when they were little, they had no idea.
Yeah.
They're still little, but they were babies.
Well, when you started your business, how old was your youngest?
So, when I started Tag Team, John Mark was, how old was he? he must have been like 5.
Mm,
And then Caroline was 3. And
wow.
then Emma was like 18 months. Yeah,
Dang, girl.
I know. It's so weird to think about. But today I had to send in a picture. My son is in 6th grade, and I had to send in a picture, a baby picture for him for the
Yeah.
yearbook. It was so emotional. Like, how did that, what? What? It just goes by so fast, which is why I think it's so important and okay to
Yeah.
make your family the priority. And I think so often we think we can't do that because we have to hustle, or we have
Mm-hmm.
to get this accomplished, or we have to create this freebie. And the reality of it is that time is still moving, and there will always be time to work on your business, but your kids and your family are only going to be that age for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that that's a real struggle for moms. I mean, we
Absolutely.
know that we are in the trenches, and it's hard, but I think as long as that's what works for us, is just making our family a priority and knowing that that was going to be kind of the gauge, the factor,
Yeah.
we measured everything against that.
I love that. I'm curious too, because I know for a lot of women, they struggle to get their significant other, their partner, their spouse on board with what they're doing, especially if they are new to starting a business, or maybe they're transitioning a business. Like I have so many ladies that I've coached who were in network marketing, and then they transitioned into creating their own businesses. And I mean, even when they first started network marketing, there was a lot of discomfort for their family, their significant others, like, well, wait a minute, what is this online thing? Is it legit? Is it real? Can you really make money? You're spending so much money. Why do you need to buy another course? So I'm curious for you, just because you've been in this game for such a long time, and you have a family, and your priorities are different than some people who maybe don't have kids or aren't married. I'm curious for you, what are some of your tips, I guess, on communication with your spouse to help them really understand clearly the vision that you are creating?
Well, I think sometimes they're not going to completely understand your vision,
Mm.
because, and well, so when I first told Mark that we were starting the tag team, he was very supportive of it, but kind of, I had just come from direct sales. It was kind of one of those, like, you go for it, you try it, you know, not he wasn't mocking me or anything, or sort of, but it was kind of one of those things like, go for it, just give it a try, honey.
Yeah.
And then when I remember saying to him, I remember vividly being on the stairs and saying to him, we're gonna become a 6-figure business. And he he gave me this look like, okay, sure, go for it. And then when we hit that mark, when we did become a 6-figure business, I think then Mark was way more, he got on board a whole lot faster. So I think that's very common for men and for husbands.
Hmm.
Like, money talks,
Yep.
right? And so, and if they're not visionaries, if they don't have that way of thinking, it's even harder for them to see that. So he was super supportive, but didn't really get what potential there was until we reached that mark. And I think that that's just, and I just, I communicated with him, told him the things that were going on. I remember one time we had launched something, I don't even remember, it was so long ago. And I guess the notifications were on my phone, and we were out to lunch. And every time someone purchased something, it went ding, 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 ever. So he was actually hearing it and experiencing it. And that was kind of an eye opener for him as well. And he was so, so happy. That was a really good lunch.
Yeah. It's like, wow, strangers from the internet want to give you money.
I know.
What a foreign concept.
What? Oh, this can work. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God, so good. Okay, so you were saying before that you were only working, or still only work, from noon, or from 9 o'clock to noon. And I think we need to talk a little, because I'm even curious for myself. So this is totally a selfish question, but hopefully this helps a lot of people. Like, what does, like, Monday through Wednesday, 9 to noon? I mean, how big is like your team? Because I think a lot of newer entrepreneurs don't even realize that they like will eventually bring on like employees, or, independent contractors to help them support, and create a bigger vision and a bigger business. So I'm just curious for you, like, what does that look like?
So now it's a lot different
Yeah.
because we are bigger. We do have a team. In the beginning, my business partner and I would and we still do this, we would Skype every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would be Skyping for those 3 hours, and we would just go through what our vision was, what we needed to do, and we would just knock things off our list. There are times when there are things that we can do on our own. And so we would finish doing that after the fact. So it would be, but honestly, I would say we don't work after 12:30 or 1, even independently. So now we have a team. If we didn't have a team, we would not be able to do this schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big factor in hiring a team. And I will say that when we started hiring people, that's when our revenue jumped. I think there's something to be said about handing that off, handing various tasks off to people, things that are not business building that someone else can do. We did not have a problem with that. And, I think it was because of our sort of mindset about working and how these 3.5 hours or whatever were so precious that we needed to be using those to build our business rather than just customer service or things like that we can hire someone else to do.
Mm-hmm. And how did you guys start identifying which things to get off your plate first?
Often it was the things that sort of became stumbling blocks for us.
Mm-hmm.
So gosh, I don't even remember what the first thing was that we hired for. It must've been customer service, and the messages, and they just got real, people do not hold back. Okay.
No,
So
they
if
don't.
you're unhappy about something, they're going to let you know. And if that's the nature of being a business owner, it's the nature. We're going to have people who are unhappy with our product. And in the beginning, we took it personally. And I remember saying, okay, we need to let's go ahead and hire someone to do this. Someone who can actually love on these people, which is what we need to do. But neither one of us were feeling it. We were like, well, you don't have any idea how good you guys,
Yep.
you want to say so many things. But yeah, so I think that was something big for us, is that we were so willing to hire. And when things got tough, we looked at it and thought, okay, can someone else fill in this space for us? That's what we've done.
Yeah. And I think too, for a lot of women who are either in direct sales or network marketing, they have those pieces taken care of by the bigger company that they're associated with. So I know for a lot of them a lot of women that I worked with, they go ahead and start creating their own coaching business. And then they all of a sudden realize, oh shit, I have to deal with, making sure my customers are happy and any refund requests and, handling the customer support and customer service and success side of things is its own thing and its own skill set. And like you said, if you don't have that layer of protection or someone on your team to filter out that, because people, like you said, don't hold back. Some of those messages are brutal.
Yeah, they are.
Oh man, people are
really true, and
right.
we hold on to those negative comments,
Mm-hmm.
and we let that kind of set our mindset, and that just gets in the way of everything.
100%.
And so with this new business, I am also planning to hire. That is going to be one of my first, and you can just get a VA,
Yep.
in wherever, the Philippines or whatever, someone who can do these tasks that you're not paying a ton of money, but it's also off your plate.
And those people are happy to do it because they don't want to be entrepreneurs. I think that's so important, because that was a huge mindset block for me. They're like, why would I give these people the things that I hate doing? But there's somebody who loves QuickBooks, who wants to just play with numbers all day. And I'm like, who are you?
Yes. That's why when we hired our customer service person, it is her gift to love on people. No matter how nasty they are, she will love you. Okay. She will love you through it all. And I have a really hard time with that. I'm like, you're dead. But I knew but it gives her life. It gives her joy. And so why not have her, so you're right.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That is so good. And you were saying too, about this whole mindset around, not taking those things personally. I mean, there's going to be times where you start to take those things in. So, and you are going to see it and you are not protected from it. So for those newer entrepreneurs, especially, how do they build that muscle of recovering and moving through the discomfort of having their first 1-star review or having their first refund request or first person trolling on their posts? What are your, what have you done to move through that?
I don't think, well, what I was going to say is I don't think it's ever easy,
Yeah.
no matter how long you've been in the business, but I do think by, so before I would read messages, I'd have to get in a different state of mind. So if I knew that I was going in to read emails, or I knew I would have to just, before I did it, get myself in a place. I was actually able to do this much better than my business partner because it was hard for her to get out of that space. For me, I would have to look at it. I would have to just sort of be like, okay, removing myself from the situation, if you will, or trying to, and then reading it from a different point perspective. Okay, so they're not saying, Rachel, you suck, your product is the worst, I'd like a refund. What they're saying is, you know what? I mean, this could mean so many things. It could mean that their husband just got laid off at work, or they thought they had more money than they did and they purchased this product. So now they're going to say they weren't appreciative, or they didn't realize how great it, or they're going to say that it's not good, there's not enough content in there. You just don't know why someone is saying what they're saying. So when you pull yourself out of it, and it's not an offense against you. There's so many other things that could be going on. And I think having that mindset when you read these messages will make all the difference. Again, I'm not saying that I never get upset by these messages. It's not like a quick fix and now everything's better. Yeah. But if I'm in that right mindset to read them, I don't take it personally. And you just, it's hard, and it's just a muscle that you have to grow, because it does take time, and it does, but you just try and pull yourself out of it and sort of look at it from the outside.
Yeah. It is challenging. Like even recently, or maybe this is about last year, I had done a webinar and we were just having massive tech issues. And when I got off that webinar, I mean, I was seeing all the angry comments coming in if people couldn't hear it. And I'm like, I'm completely helpless. I just got to keep going. Oh man, opening that inbox was the worst ever. People were
the worst.
Really the worst. They were like, how dare you waste my time? As if I purposely paid to get them on that webinar for my ads, spent thousands of dollars, and then just decided to not give to them as a big practical joke. Like, I've spent my hard-earned money to get you here and then not deliver. Like as if that was my evil plan all along. I was like, you guys, come on now. Like,
well, and I think that's it, is people, I think we're all, so we fight against ourselves so often. And so we look at things, it's how it's affecting me. It's affecting me this way. It's affecting me this way. And people react, and they do play the victim sometimes. Yeah. They absolutely do. And I think it's just a reaction. Like, how dare you? I took time off work. This is my lunch break to watch this webinar, and now this is what happened. And a lot of people play that blame game. They aren't as capable, I guess, if you will, of looking beyond it. And their mindset is also screwed up, to be able to so I think having compassion for people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying when you get all those negative comments, you're like, oh, but
yeah,
they must be going through, oh, this person's probably having a tough day. Oh, and this one too. And okay, that's hard to do. That's when you get your customer service rep in there and you don't even look at the comments, because it can become defeating.
Yeah, it definitely was, because of, we were trying to juggle a whole lot of that, and I had a new person on at that time. And I think too, though, if you want to look at it through what are they called? Rose-colored glasses? The hell is it? Something like that. But, those are not people who I wanted in my program. If they're going to be that reactive, listen, I get it. You're disappointed. I understand that. I'm also disappointed that I didn't get to deliver this to you. I appreciate the time that you took off from work and your lunch break to be here. And I respect your time, and I didn't do this intentionally. And also, if they're going to be that reactive to something, I didn't steal their money. I didn't attack their family. I didn't harass them. They couldn't hear the webinar. You know what I mean? Those are probably not people that I want to work with, because what's next? I kind of weeded them out. So I remember looking at that and being like, maybe this is a blessing.
And that is so true. It's so true that those aren't your people anyway. The people who are like, this content sucks. They're probably not your people. But also, I think when you respond to them in kindness and acknowledging, listen, I get it. Like, that's so frustrating. It disarms them somehow. And then oftentimes it becomes this like great conversation. Oh my gosh, listen, I'm so sorry I reacted that way. I'd skipped lunch that day and I was starving. You know, whatever it is, it opens up that conversation and things generally simmer down, you know?
People just want to feel heard and understood and seen.
And seen, yeah.
So on top of, you know, we're talking about like mean girls or like mean comments or whatever, but like, what about the mean girl in your head? Let's talk a little bit about that, because there's so much self-talk throughout. And I don't know that people necessarily share as much of the real deal on social media, but you are so transparent and so like willing to be open about that. So I would just love your take on like, what does that actually look like?
Okay, so the mean girl is often worse, and I call her the mean girl in your head. She's often worse than those complaints that you're going to get from customers and from potential customers, because she's there all the effing time. And she strikes when you're not expecting her. And I found that she is the loudest when we're getting ready to do something awesome, or we're stepping out, you know, we're taking that leap, where we're getting uncomfortable. That's when she pipes up. She's always there. And what I'm referring to are these negative thoughts that we think about ourselves. And you don't even know they're happening. You don't even know they're happening. Last week I was thinking, I don't even know how it got started, but I was just sitting there at our inner circle retreat and the mastermind retreat. And I literally was just like hanging out with her. She was just, the things that she said to me, and my whole presence was just so defeated. And it's like she snuck up on me and I didn't even realize what was happening. And then when I was like, wait, whoa, sister, I shut her down and I was like, and we're going to move on because those are all lies. And then I was a different person, because these thoughts, it can be anything, like, you're not enough, you're fat, look how pretty she is, you're nothing like her, look how big, you're trying to do this business on your own. Of course you can't do that. Any negative thought, it's any of your weaknesses are what are going to come out in these negative thoughts. You just have to, and it's so easy for me to say, you just have to shut her down. But these are all lies. Everything she says is a lie. It's all lies. And when we're getting ready to do something amazing, they're going to be louder because we're getting ready to do something amazing. So I think you just have to start becoming more aware of those thoughts. And when you feel negative, when you feel down on yourself, really look at yourself. Look what's going on inside your mind. What are you saying to yourself? Because that needs to be shut down. That's going to hold you back. You absolutely have to get control of these thoughts, because those negative thoughts are going to get in the way. They're going to be like roadblocks for you.
And when something doesn't feel good, that's literally your body telling you, hey, you're thinking things that don't align with your highest self.
Absolutely agree with that.
Your body, your emotional guidance system is your built-in lie detector.
Yeah, so true. And last week, this is so vivid for me because it was like a beat down.
Yeah.
And it was such a beat down. And I just remember wanting to cry, not really being able to be totally present to what was going on. And then when I realized this, when I had this mindset shift, it was like, it was literally like the rose-colored glasses again. Everything seemed much better. Everything seemed easier. I felt lighter, because it's like a beat down, and that doesn't help in any way. She's wrong. A bitch.
I think what you said though is so spot on, that when we're about to get uncomfortable and level up, that's when it becomes the loudest. Because like our unconscious mind does not know what's next, and it doesn't like the idea of the unknown. And so our brain is literally trying to protect us by, the ego comes out and it's like, hey, you're probably not ready for this. You probably want to wait. Maybe you're not skinny enough. Maybe you're not pretty enough. Maybe you're not smart enough. That person did it, but probably you can't. And like, I've even seen like this year, that come up so many times and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm about to do this thing. And now I've kind of reframed it for myself and rewired that trigger, not completely, but I have to catch it. That I actually start to celebrate and get really excited when those things happen, because I'm like, ooh, my spidey senses are telling me that I'm being a real asshole to myself. Guess that means something good's about to happen.
Oh yeah, well watch this.
Watch this, you mean girl.
Yeah, but it's so true. That's exactly when it happens. That's when it gets even louder. And so yeah, like celebrate that. Be like, oh, you're a lot in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna party.
Oh, you get up for a second. Yeah. So, okay, what do you do to celebrate?
I drink. You know what? I think for me, just feeling so proud of myself for calling her out, you know, it sounds so funny. It sounds like I'm telling voices in my head to stop. But
we all are. Isn't that what we're doing? Because we spoke these things aloud. We would be committed.
I know. And that's the thing. And, you know, I hear my girls doing it. And this is to answer your question, but I'm hearing my girls say things. My youngest, I get upset with her for some reason. Not that I ever get upset with her, but if that were the case, I'll hear her say things like, I'm so stupid, or I'm just so dumb. And I'll say, okay, Emma, number one, you don't get to talk like that about someone that I love. And number two, those are lies. And I do not want you telling yourself those lies. So let's turn that around. Let's say something positive, because I think when you say things out loud, there's so much power in them. And I often tell, you know, customers or clients, if you are bogged down with these negative thoughts, I'm not enough, I'm not, whatever it is, write down the top 3, the ones you're hearing all the time, and turn it around. I actually talk about this in my podcast. Turn it around and make them affirmations, and then look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I am enough. I am enough, and do it every day. And it dims that light, or that it dims the power, I should say, of these negative thoughts of that mean girl. She doesn't like that. She doesn't like us affirming ourselves and saying positive things about us, because she's the mean girl, right? She doesn't want us to feel good about ourselves. So if we are sort of combating those thoughts with positive statements about ourselves, it really does make a difference.
So what is one that you do? Is it just like, I'm not enough to I am enough? Or what are like some of your favorite mantras? Yeah.
That's a big one. I don't necessarily need to say that anymore. I did in the beginning. And now I'm like, oh yeah, girl,
you got it.
You know, but I think probably one that's tough for me that I have to say is I am a good mom. Because while I do make my family the priority, and I still have, you know, I'm successful in business, there's, like we talked before, there's that mom guilt. And, you know, when you can't go to your child's classroom party because you have a call that day, there's that, oh, you know, like, oh man, am I doing the right thing? Because we have this vision of ourselves that we have to be like the Pinterest mom who is constantly making these amazing crafts, and we're so perfect, and our house is so clean, and everything is put where it's supposed to be. I'm the classroom mom for each of my kids. Well, that's just not true. Like, we can try and live that, but we're not going to be fulfilled doing that, because we're constantly trying to be something that we're not. Now, is that to say that there aren't those moms out there who can do all that? That's not what I'm saying at all. But for me, that was not the case. And I was trying to live up into this sort of vision that I had of myself and what I should be as a mom, that, you know, it kind of can get defeating. I am much better now. I'm like, all right, guys, we're doing labels for our Valentines, because I know how hard it is for you guys to write them. And I don't have time to try and convince you to write the names on all these Valentines. So why don't I just print up labels? I am that mom now.
Efficiency.
And it is okay. No one says, oh my gosh, did you see what Rachel did to her Valentine's? Like, no, that's not going to happen.
And even if it did, then somebody's got way too much time on their hands. They got their priorities a little twisted.
So that is an affirmation that I have to tell myself.
Yeah.
over and over again, because that is a struggle. That is a struggle for me.
Okay, this is so good. So your new podcast is being released soon, and maybe when this comes out, it'll already be live. Woohoo! Okay, so it is called Making the Leap.
Making the Leap,
which I'm obsessed with. What does making the leap mean to you?
Oh my gosh. So it is incredible. That phrase, if you will, has sort of become my mantra for the past 3 years. Because I have stepped out of my comfort zone so much in the last few years, and it is hard, and it doesn't get easier. Well, actually, it does get easier. I'm more willing to do it than I was in the beginning, but it's still hard. It's still uncomfortable. And I'm kind of in that space in my life right now where I'm again making the leap. And I just wanted to encourage other women, other business owners to do the same thing. Take the leap, because what happens when we do that is amazing things happen, right? We up level our businesses grow, we grow, so many amazing things happen. Because there's a saying that says, I think I'm going to probably botch it up, but nothing great comes from comfort zones.
Yeah.
It's so true. We feel safe, we're comfortable, but we're not going to grow there. We're not going to become amazing. And so when we challenge ourselves, that's when the beauty happens. That's when the magic happens. And I just want to encourage other moms, well, not just moms, other women to do that. Because when we're encouraged to do that, that's when we take the leap. Or we make the leap. And we just become stronger, more amazing, who we're supposed to be, you know?
Was there like a specific time in your
just staying in our comfort zone is not going to, it's just not, we're not going to get to who we're designed to be. We're not going to reach that point.
Was there like a specific time in your life or business where you were not sure if you should take the leap, and then you took the leap, and maybe it was like a huge on paper failure, or maybe it was a big success, but looking back, you realize now that if you hadn't taken that leap, you would not be where you are today?
Definitely. So when my business partner and I first joined James Wedmore's mastermind, the prices that we had for our products was very low, because I think we just didn't realize what value we were offering. And I remember we were challenged to increase our prices, and there was a fear there, like, well, what if we do that? Are people, number one, are they going to laugh in our faces? Number two, are they going to buy it now? And number three, are we really worth it? Are we worth that price point? And so we had to walk through that, and we did raise our prices, and we ended up making more in like 4 months that year than we had in the entire year before. So at that point, and I remember someone in our mastermind saying to me, leap and the net will appear. James always says that. Leap and the net will appear. And he said, we're your net. And I remember just finding that to be such a powerful statement, because the net will appear, you guys. I mean, the net will appear. Okay. We're not just going to be free falling, although sometimes it might feel that way. We're not going to be free falling, because that's how it's designed to be. It's designed for us to step out, you know, and then grow. And it's just, that how life is. So that was the turning moment, I think, for me in business. And then I realized, okay, you know what? Enough of this living in fear. Enough of this living in this sort of comfort zone where I'm cool where I am.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to move anymore. I grew up with so much fear. And I think then I realized no more. Like,
yeah,
it's a much more fulfilling, exciting life when you step out. Right?
A little variety. You gotta get a little spice.
Man. And then to look back and see how much you've grown, that's just the coolest thing ever.
Well, what I love too about that story in particular, I mean, there's so many pieces. I love that we are the net. That really, you shared that like a couple weeks ago at the mastermind, and that just like really, really resonated for me. But I think also for the audience listening to this, talking about raising your prices, that is one of the scariest things for so many freaking people. And what's so powerful about what you shared is initially you guys were operating from the mindset of, can our people afford this?
Yes.
Will they laugh at it? And I think there's such a beautiful lesson within that, because you guys had so many new people come in who were happy and willing to pay and wanted to invest in themselves at a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
Like what did you think when you started seeing the sales coming in at this higher ticket price?
We were in awe.
Yeah.
We were relieved, but also kind of like, oh my gosh, we have been selling ourselves short. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how cool and amazing that we stepped out and were rewarded for stepping out.
Yes.
You know? And you looking at it before you do, you think, only bad things can happen. When in reality, only good things can happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, if you just think about it. But we were rewarded so richly for taking that step, taking that leap, and the prices. That price thing that's a legit fear.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think what's great about that too is if it didn't work, you guys could have just found another place to price it.
Mm-hmm. And I read something the other day about failure and how basically if you feel like you're failing, you're not failing.
No.
You're learning. It's okay to fail. In fact, you should fail because that's how you grow. So even if you take that leap and things don't go the way you hoped, it's still amazing that you did that because you're growing, you're learning. We learned from our mistakes. And James said that too. He was saying how, right, like if there's a problem, he doesn't see it as a problem. He's excited for problems or mistakes because they can learn from that. I'm like, dude, you were amazing.
It's such a powerful freaking mindset shift. If you can step into that as an entrepreneur where failure and risk are just part of the territory and there is no escaping it.
Yes.
If you don't put that hat on and that filter on of problems are the best thing that can happen in my business, you're going to have a much more difficult time getting to those next levels faster. Like I want to fail faster.
Yeah.
Like I'm automating my webinar. I'm like, all right, let's get this out faster. Let's see how bad it converts or how great it converts. And then we know what to do. We know where to tweak it. We know what things to improve on.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's so healthy too. Such a healthy mindset to not be afraid of the mistakes and not be afraid of the failures and not be afraid of the problems because ultimately they are good. You know?
Yeah, as long as you don't lie down on the job after that happens and go, well, it didn't work. Guess this is done.
And that's so normal to want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, to be like, you know what, forget it. And I had a moment like that yesterday where things didn't go quite my way. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to quit because this is just, I don't know, is this really what I meant to do? And then I picked myself up and I said, yes, it is. And you're not going to quit. Okay. So it's normal to want to quit, but you're not going to let yourself, you're going to pick yourself up and then keep going.
Okay. This has been so amazing. So many amazing little like nuggets of wisdom, quotable moments. So before we go, do you have any last quick words of wisdom?
Oh, that's good. I think don't quit and don't be afraid. Don't listen to me. I'm like a few tidbits. Let me just speak a lot. But don't be afraid. Don't let fear hold you back because when you step into that fear and walk your truth, that's when amazing things will begin to happen. Walk your truth. Walk your truth.
Stepping into faith. I love it. So where can people go to learn more about you and all of the amazing things that you are creating?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So follow me at Rachel A. Perry on Instagram. I have a downloadable on there in my bio. It's a 90-day action planner.
Yeah.
Just awesome, you know, like to try and help us keep track of our inspired thoughts. And you can find me on Facebook at Rachel Adam Perry. I would love for you to come and hang out with me on my page and in my free group. We have a good time. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. And you guys need to go and check out the podcast.
Duh. I'm not used to saying this.
I know. I'm like, she forgot about her podcast.
The biggest thing of all. Yes. Check out my podcast, Making the Leap in Business and in Life with Rachel Perry.
Woo-hoo.
It's so much fun. And I'm super, super, super excited to start building that and just for all of you guys to come and hang out with me. I would be so honored.
Yes. And what is the focus of the show?
basically about stepping out.
Yeah.
Okay. Making the leap, like in everything, not just in our business, but in our life. And we're going to talk motherhood. We're going to talk fun. We're going to be crazy. But there'll be a lot of mindset and accountability included in that podcast. And I'm excited because I'll be interviewing other amazing people like Jen, hopefully.
Yay! I would be so honored.
This is like my baby. I'm so excited about it. This is like the best thing ever.
The baby that you forgot about.
The baby that I forgot about. The baby that just, the baby I forgot about. That's not right. Not right.
Oh my God, I freaking love you. Thank you so much for hanging out, sharing so many great nuggets with the audience today. And guys, I can't wait for you guys to go and check out the podcast and all the things that Rachel's up to, because it's freaking epic.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you bringing me on here. You're amazing. And I love you. So thank you.
I love you. I'm so glad we're friends. I remember at the first mastermind retreat, I was like, I want to be friends with her, but she's way too cool. So like, I'm just going to like hang back for a sec. And now I'm just like, oh my God, Rachel.
Because I am so cool.
You are.
I remember being like, you put those lashes.
Lash game.
Lashes.
That's how I get my friends. I just have cool lashes, and then it's my opener. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.